Hey guys, Professor Bill of Comic Book Universe in Infidel issue number 2. So, if you remember from last month when I checked out the part 1, the first issue of this comic book, I made the very distinct mistake of reading it at about 3 o'clock in the morning. That was a terrible mistake, which I vowed I would not let happen again. Well, I'm not quite as, good at keeping to my word apparently, because it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I just got finished reading the damn comic book. Mother fathead. But I am smarter than the average bear, because I actually went to the bathroom before I read the comic book. So what now? So I'm waiting for a jump scare to happen at any moment now. I'm not going to look out my window. None of this. No. Wrong answer. So listen. The story has a certain level of fear just kind of ingrained into it. This is a comic book that has jump scares. Now, I've heard from the reviews, when I did my review of the previous issue, there are some people who told me that some people on YouTube were cracking jokes about the book or making fun of the book or whatever it is. I usually don't look at other people's reviews because I don't want them to potentially influence my take on the book. I want this to be my review of the book, not somebody else's. I don't need somebody else to ingrain me or educate me or feed me their opinions on something and start going over like dictation, exactly where all the tropes land and whatnot. This is what I've heard about some of the channels out there. Listen, that's their business. My business is to read a comic book and enjoy it for myself. And this is what I felt. How the hell did they manage to pull off jump scares for a freaking comic book? Do you know how hard that is? Seriously, dude, you don't have music playing in the background. In fact, I actually had a podcast, a wrestling podcast going on in the background. I still got to get back to that. But the point is, I'm listening to that. Go figure, they're talking about the greatest Royal Rumble ever, which is going to be in Saudi Arabia coming up this Friday. So, wow, go figure. Hi. They're talking about going over to like the most Muslim of Muslim countries, apparently. And I used to live there, and now and I'm reading about this, and it's like, this is a strange coincidence. I'm almost waiting for there to be some kind of a blip or something. Like, seriously, I'm sitting here reading this comic book thinking any moment I'm going to get the feeling that something's touching me on the back of the shoulder, or I'm going to look the wrong way out, like my sliding glass door over here, and I'm going to see a face, and it's going to be mine, but I would jump at my face too. Look, this is a freaking... Damn it, this book. Damn it. I haven't had a jump scare yet, but I'm expecting one. I'm expecting one, man. Not being able to hear scary music or anything like that, like it takes away from what you think would be the crux of a jump scare, but no, that's not the case. And like I said before, I'm going to say it again. The only other time I've ever truly experienced that, I'm talking about Witches, Scott Snyder and Jock, because this book, man. So we got a few more issues to go. We don't know exactly what's going to happen here, but it looks like Leslie, the grandma, is dead. The little girl might be dead also, Chris, which is like, dude, not cool, man. And Aisha, she's having hallucinations. They're happening like in front of people at this point. They keep on getting noticeably worse. I'm starting to think that maybe it's seizures, because that's actually a big part of Arabian lore, Arabian mythology, is that people with seizures are prophets. People with seizures can see into the other realm. People with seizures can see ghosts or jinn. So, yeah. Like, this is... man. And the art is so damn good on this. That's probably what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's a very special kind of art which gives you the feeling that you are reading one of those animated comic books that you might see in like motion digital or something to that effect, where you're actually seeing the art form for the panels right in front of you and then disappearing and washing over into the next panel to form there. It's kind of nuts, but the ghosts, man, the jinn, that's the real thing that's drawn. That's just kind of messed up. And when you're sitting there reading the comic book and something is there that simply should not be there, you get the feeling that you're actually seeing what Aisha is seeing. And that can't be easy to pull off. I've never thought to try and pull something like that off before. I know it happened in Ghosts, where the witches would, in Witches, where those witches would appear in the trees and whatnot, and you'd be kind of looking for them. But here, they're right there, and they're not supposed to be. So when you see them, like the one behind the plant, it's just like, what the hell? And it's not reacted to until the next panel. So yeah, there's that sense of, it's like, I'm thinking about it, in psychology. I love to study psychology. So when something bad happens, saying something happens that shouldn't happen, like an explosion, something, probably bad commentary on that right now for this book, but if an explosion or a loud noise happens, or something where you can't see what happens, it's just something that you hear, you might look around and go, and try and see, did anybody else hear that? What's everybody else doing? It's that social fear thing. You know what I'm saying? You have somebody running away, or a group of people running away from a direct area. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna, if you're smart, you're gonna pick up and start running with those people. Just because, man, I could get up and just run out of this room right now. There's some of you who are smart enough, you'll be like, I don't know what just happened, but I'm out too. It's a natural survival instinct. Dumb people walk towards, I'm going to say it, white people in movies. White people in movies. That don't happen in real life. I'm white. Something happened. If I hear a noise in another room, I'll be like, shoot, I'm going over this way. What are you going over this way for? I heard the noise that way. You want to go investigate? Okay, have fun. No. I have this thing called a survival instinct. And there's also the idea of the gorilla in the room, or the pink elephant in the room, whatever it is. You see something that shouldn't be there, but nobody else is reacting to it. You don't know how to react to it. And it's not until Aisha screams in the next panel where it's like, okay, what the frick? You know what I'm saying? So it's, yeah. It's a messed up comic. All right, that's all I'm saying. It's a messed up comic. Now, I'm really hoping this is genuinely going to go someplace. On top of that, seeing, I'm going to try and pronounce his name. I hope I don't butcher it, but Pornchek, he's from Thailand, so it's not my fault that I ruined the name. I'm sorry. But this guy is actually writing something based on fears that his mother tried to instill in him. And that's a funny thing also psychologically when you think about that. Our parents try to instill their fears into us. They try to instill what is socially acceptable in the world and society into us. The problem is their reality is actually just their perception. All of our realities are just our perception. So when you see them saying, like he gives the example that his mother said to him, the Americans will never accept you. I can see that. Guy, like, our movies are pervasive. They go everywhere. So even just watching movies, American movies from another country, you get the idea that everybody smokes. You get the idea that people are dumb and they're always tripping when they're running away from horror, features, right? Like, they're just certain things, the tropes that you understand, you recognize out there. But another thing is that Muslims are dangerous terrorists. They're Unabombers or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Grant, I just mentioned the Unabomber, but you get what I'm saying. I think. So I can absolutely understand why someone would feel that way. In fact, when I was in Saudi Arabia, and I've talked to Shia, I've talked to Sunni, I've talked to non-committal, I've talked to people who are kind of more agnostic than anything else, and I've talked to straight atheists over there who, the vast majority of them will say something to the effect of, hey man, like if I go over to America, what's one of the least racist places I can go to? Should I go to like Atlanta, or should I go to like Texas? I'm like, why don't you actually give me a good option? You know what I'm saying? Maybe if you were to go to Dallas, Texas, there's some suburbs there that you'll be okay. But most other places you go to are not going to be good to you, brother. I don't know what to tell you. And Atlanta, I don't know if you're going to find too many friends there at all. Just saying. So, like it's just one of those weird things. That was specifically a guy who was asking about universities in both locations. But I mean, like, yeah, I get it. I do get it. You know what I'm saying? So is what it is. This was a very fun comic book. I'm giving this a B plus. This was enjoyable. A comic book that can get you actually like looking over your shoulder. And I'm not going to look over my shoulder because I don't see anything in there. And worst case scenario, it's going to be a ghost or a vampire. So I'm not looking. I'm just nope. Sorry. So anyway, I'm out. I am dumb for reading this comic book in the middle of the night, is what it is. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. All right, guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, not sleeping tonight, class dismissed.